Continuing on within part number 4 for the NEM, GRS, BTC, and US dollar trade. We see the portfolio in here. Well, these are the key numbers in here. They're down. As if you take 7.28 and 6.5, then you're almost at 14. And then you add almost 3, then you're definitely lower than 0.17. Starting with 0.22. Against the dollar, however, because Bitcoin prices at this time have jumped to 1,000, you're actually up against the dollar. But this can go to show that when altcoins have decent moves down, that overperforming a down market can still mean you're down, which is exactly what the case would be here. You'd be overperforming it only down about maybe 10-15% against the price of Bitcoin. This is where I'm going to now make sure that I don't get lose control of the ratio like I did before, because these things are going to start to move relatively wild. And we're only on day number 250, so I think we're still many days away for it. It may be at the end of this part or at the start of the next one when the ratio gets really wild. We're looking for a break below 30 or a rise above 46 at this point, and we got 30 exactly, and there's the ratio trade. We bought both the last on the when they were 126 and 338. So now we're gonna sell this coin. That's at 429. That would be the NEM coin, and figure okay, how many NEM do I want to sell? We own 21,500. So somewhere around like 4,200 might be something I can consider. And the price ratio, I guess, was under zero point 0.3, so more, triple than that would be what, 14,000? More than that. So we'll go 15,006, 15,7. And that will be the trade for the day on that one. Now we just wait again for the next particular number, but before we do that, there's a portfolio. Okay, last trade's in at 0.27. Let's wait for this to either go down to 21 or up to 35. 45. Okay. So this one pretty much doubled. That's what went on there. So we'll flip that last trade over. With the ownership of GRS at 67,000, 20% of that would be almost that 15 as it is. So I can give a good chunk of that back and still take some profit. Like, because I want to definitely do more than that 20%. But if I just profit, say, 1,000 of them here, then I should be able to get a fantastic gain on the other side. And that was pretty much right on the number. Enough for I'll count that. So 6,500 is in. That's a differential gain of 1,700. And only a gain of 1,000 on that one. But every time you continuously get gains over and over, that's always going to be good for your portfolio. And we look at these numbers now. That's better than 0.21. So we're barely up now against Bitcoin and up double pretty much from the 100 that started. So 0.45 in here. Also bold this as well. And move on. Let's see where we go. Break below 36 or above 56. That's close. What's happening this time? Well, that last coin that went up has continued to go up a bit more, because this went up from 204 now at 226. The other one's down a bit to 405. Now, do you want to just take that number here, wait? There we go, a better deal, because now it's at 252. So I'll put the R in there for ratio. We'll bold this. Looking at the wallet now, which has 130 value. Ownership is 52,000, so unloading 12,000 should be very easy to do. Even go maybe 12.5 or 12.6. And then with this, I should be able to pick up about maybe 80, over 8,000 of them. No, not quite, but 7,900 added, and so is for the cost of 12,600. But I'll just keep flipping them back and forth again as we are seeing within this. And now the Bitcoin price is down about 100 from that 1,000 number, yet our portfolio was higher than it was there because the altcoins are doing a little bit better. And of course, if they do a lot better, well, that would make your portfolio as well do just that within. Okay, let's move on to the next trade. Let's scroll this, push this down, see where we go from the 6-3 number. That's below 50 or at 80 or above. Let's see how long it takes. There we have it here, 83. So this one goes up to 535, but this one pretty much double. So your portfolio is going to be looking a lot more fantastic now because everything's going up. Bitcoin price is hanging in there. Just it's up a little bit from the 895 as well. And we're going to continue selling those GRSs. And 20% should at least be around what I'd want to do. Now this is at 246. This is 0.34, so it's looking a lot better. And now owning, say, 39,000, so that would be about 8,000 or so. I could easily trade, maybe even a bit more, maybe 8,500. And pick up maybe somewhere around 75. No, more less than that. Maybe I'll do more than the 85. Maybe let's do 95 in here. Because I kind of wouldn't mind having even say 98. A little higher than I did last time. I still think affording to sell 10,000 is most certainly a reasonable play. Let me just verify it again. So 40,000, that's 25%. Okay. What kind of move differential are we having? We're having a 20-point move on 63. That's 32%. If I go 32 divided by 132, that's pretty much about a maximum amount of sell at this point. So I'm going to stick with it. I want to always try to sell as aggressively as possible to maximize my overall gains as I continue to go forward. So let me just make sure that these are written in, which they need to be. And move on to the next trade. So 0.83 will mean a break above 104 or a 65 and below, which is 2 days later. We can flip that last trade beautifully. So if I do an equal split-ish, we'll see, well, maybe not equal, but if I were to say only sell 60, not 800 of these, how many would I be able to buy back? Well, could I get 12.5? And the answer would be almost. So probably a good enough trade. 12,000, not quite. 11.5 more than that. So maybe around 11.7. Well, we'll count that. So here's a gain of 1,300 on this flip. This is a gain of 1,900 on the GRS. And now that puts a portfolio, I mean, this is 0.35, just these two together now, and at 280. Now, as far as where the prices have come from, this is like nothing compared to this now. So, in looking at where we stand there, where have we seen the markets go up and down from? We entered at 360 and 450. We already seen it go to 17. So at this stage in here, yes, you can protect against Bitcoin, but then it's going to cost you be able to flip against the ratio trade as well. So I don't think it really would be needed at this point, but I know for sure when market conditions force it to be put on yourself upon you, and it will be soon, then you'll have to do it. And let's continue on. So the last trade's in at 58. Looking for 46 or 73, and there we have it. So here is an interesting spot because what's going to happen here is how would you trade the ratio and sell both? You can't. Let me just take that off for now. So I'm going to go ratio and sell GRS. But what I'll do just temporarily is move this there. So first I'm going to get the ratio taken care of. And it's a big, big move going from 58 to 114. But I'm not going to do any I'm going to sell half of my GRS in the ratio. No. 20% of that is like 10,000. I mean, that can easily be done. And I want to probably even do a bit more on that. Not much more. Well, you know what? Even like from that 11.7, let's just get rid of that 11.7 against the ratio. So we're buying something that's actually gone up in price. But that's fine. How many do we buy back? It's going to be a lot more than that 68. Okay, how about 12,000 or 10,000? Well, obviously the ratio is higher. It's got to be like 13,000. This is a pretty amazing move here. 14,000? Well, maybe we'll go with that. So 13.2 in. And the entire 11.7 that we had out. We still own 30,000 of these coins. So, maybe a small trade. Well, what would 4,000 give us? 0.031. That would do better than double that number. So let's go back in here again. So we can even afford to do more. Maybe minus 6,500. And what this will be a trade against Bitcoin. I'm going to bold this so I know that it is a Bitcoin trade. I'm just going to put nothing in here for that one. So now as far as the wallet's concerned, well, things are looking a lot better. 491.5 is your dollar value at the 1,000. We got these Bitcoin numbers going a lot higher because of the market going high up, of course. Okay, so I'm just going to put in the number 781 here, 781 here, and move on to the next trade. So the last ratio is at 1.14. And whatever these numbers come up here, it's going to be more than 1 basis point higher and lower given the volatility that's just come into play. So 98, 94, 86. All right, so is that enough? 5 basis points lower. That market has went from 550 to 637. So I think putting in a small ratio trade could most certainly be in order. So amongst this one here, let's see how many NEM would we normally want to sell as it is anyway. Just about. I'm happy with even 10,000 is a lot, but maybe that might be like the maximum amount. So let's just put in say 9,600, because that's again in the 20% ballpark realm, and I'd get more than the 96 given that the price is lower. So 12,000, not quite, 11,000, bit more. Okay, so there we have it, a trade made on the ratio. So let's put in 0.86 here. Let's put a bold. We can still even get that buyback here. I can even bold this so I know that this was a trade here. I might as well. So 781 would be the buyback. But technically speaking, under 400 would probably be the highest I'd want to buy it back at. Okay, ratio up to 96, 97. Looking for a break below 69 or above 108. Well, it's 68. Is that good enough? This is down to 473. This is up to 700. So, yeah, why not? We got 36,000. So 20% of that would be about a little under 8K. So let's do 7,900. And how many would we pick up at that? Maybe try 11 to see what that does. We get a bit more. Even a bit more again. Okay, I'll do that. So that trade is in the spreadsheet book. And before with $1,000 Bitcoin, we were getting this to 100. Well, now it's at 400. Let's continue on. Let's put the ratio here, bold to 68. Still looking for that buyback below 4, but the highest it's been is the high 400s right now. And we need to put the new price in. So we're looking for 54.85. Or, of course, that first number to go below 400. Well, that's below 400 now. But it's barely below 400, so I'm not going to do it. But if it's next day is nicer, there we are, 372. I think it's a buyback. But it's going to be a partial one. I'm going to profit a bit of Bitcoin on it. So let's just put in here buy GRS. So this is a trade we're getting back in here. What's 372 times 2? Well, I take the first number, 3, multiply it by 2. Well, we're going to have to add another 1 because it's carrying the 1 thing, so 700. 7 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 2 is 4. 744. So we've already done better than a 2x move. So technically speaking, 13,000 would be cheaper than that 50 number. But I want to profit a small amount of Bitcoin as well, so I will complete the trade at this and gain like almost a 0.01. And I'm going to unbold this since this trading cross has now been completed. And we're still waiting to trade on that ratio. So let's continue on. Let's wait for the 54.85, 59, 52. So this is down to 337. Let's trade the ratio. Down to 0.52. So almost half. And really an okay move. Nothing that you're going to want to go too aggressive with as far as how many of the NEM you want to sell. Owning about 29,000 of them. The trade back we're looking to get done is, well, we're making kind of a new one because the last time we did one, it was this one here. So therefore, in trying to figure out how much to sell, again, 20%. then we're looking at about 56, 57, even up to 6,000. A little more is I think is fine as well. So let's go 6,000 and gain these 3848 on the Bitcoin, and see what 12,000 does here. We have to go less. And we'll do that. Ratio trade is completed. And as we can see, prices on the wallet still around $400 of value. And let's continue on. Ratio last traded before was at 68. Now we're going to put in 52 as we go into row number 309. 42. I kind of want maybe another move below 37. There we have it. And that's a good move going from 37 to 52. That's 15 basis points. Maybe I want to do an additional, like, noticeably more than 20% here, which I think I will. So 20% on 22, that would be like 4,500. So noticeably more than 45. Let's go 5,000. And we could easily get more than double that. So, yeah, even more than that. Here we have it. Okay. So that ratio trade is complete. And we can see how the GRS is worth more than the NAM because we've been buying it, and it's going to work out that way. It's going to flip back and forth. And when the numbers flip back and forth with higher highs and higher lows on the value, that is just a magnificent thing to have happen. Okay, 0.37 is the last trade now. So below 30 or above 46. It's 42 on the next day, then 44, then 47. So this is went up, this is went down. So this is, again, a very easy trade to make on the ratio. Maybe easier to do that than for me to find the letter R on my keyboard. And pretty much just a trade back from the last one. So we can maybe look to unload, say, 11,300 of them, gain 2. And do we get at least 6,000 for it? No. 56? No. 54? Even less than that. Not the greatest of deals, but it's a profit nonetheless. It's going to be even less than that, too. That'll work. So a gain here of 2,000, a gain here of 300. Our wallet up to 500 now. That's a pretty good chunk of change here. And let's move on. So last trade in at 0.47 now, looking for 38 or 59. I guess the next day it does it. And 0.65 will be the new one. Very, very, very good move. So let's bold that. Go to the trade section. So we got this buyback. So technically we could be working on this one here. The GRS ownership is 70,000. So 20% of that is 14. So technically giving back the entire like 11,300, or maybe doing the exact same thing we did before, seems to be maybe the right play. And that will get a good sum of NEM back on this score. So therefore, let's just see what 8,000 does. We can not quite do that. Or even 75. That we could do more then. Okay, so 7280 in, 11,300 of them out. As far as the wallet's concerned, we now have this at 533. Doing pretty good. And we'll wait for below 52, above 81, goes to 54. That's close. And that happens the next day. So another great opportunity to get our coins in the pot, if you will, or chips in the pot, so like a poker game, and splash and dabble, if you will. And of course, again, here we'll be selling the coin that we just bought. So maybe of the 7280, maybe we'll say, well, let's just see what we own here. But I'd be thinking around 6,000 and something. And with 30,000, we could easily, that's 20% right there. So maybe 6,300. And then on this one here, we'll see, maybe we'll get like more than that. And it's not quite 14,000, but we'll just do, I guess, 13,900, and that will be it. So adding 2,600, adding almost 1,000 amongst that particular trade. And now, well, the value of your dollars went down. You were over 5, but you're accumulating your coins, which is important. We have 24,000 and 73,000. And on the start of this game, we bought 20, and we bought 16 of these. So we've definitely held on to the NEMS, which has overperformed the GRS amongst this point. And don't know why these are bold, but it's not what I meant to do. Anyway, this is what I wanted to do. Okay. So I'm going to do one more trade to finish off this video. And then we'll be moving into part 5 for tomorrow. Looking for a break below 36 or above 56. Hanging in there in the low 30 number. And there we have it. So this will be the final trade of today's episode. 326 days are complete. So almost one full year. And when we look at this trade in here that we're going to do, this market is going up to 1498 and this one's up to 470. So this is going to be a double shot again. Let's sell some XCM on top of that as well, as that is just a fantastic move. So how many do we own? Now when you go from like 800 Satoshi to 15, you can get rid of a decent amount of the 24. And therefore getting rid of 8,000-9,000 overall is something I could do. Question is, will it be something that I will do? Well, let's first complete the ratio trade. So if we've been doing, like just normally we'll say 20%, like 5,000. Let's do 5,200 maybe. I mean, that gives me 0.077 at that. That is just fantastic. And with this barely up from that point, let's just see what this is coming in bold. I'll change that and time. That'll work. So there's the ratio trade, but now I want to trade off a little bit of this. And so of the remaining coins of the NEM, you got like 18,000, so 4,000. Let's do 4,000. And this is against Bitcoin, so I'll put this in bold. And the reason why those bolds are probably there is because when I was doing this game on the first try, I was using bold indicators for stuff like this as well. Okay, so that is that. We have 620 on the US value. The GRS with 0.42, the NEM with 0.22. So definitely a little overweighing on each other, but again, that's going to be part of the flow within the game to help get your total at the highest numbers possible playing this game. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to putting out the next part. Bye bye.